Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Bahrain Now. With me, your host, Bara Abdulla. We've got a great show coming up featuring great local talents, initiatives, and happenings from around the kingdom. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, yoga is the journey of the self, through the self, and to the self. Today with us in the studio is meditation and aerial yoga instructor Yasmin Al-Janahi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am great and excited to know more about aerial yoga. So what is it? Yoga in the air? What is it?
Aerial yoga is basically practicing yoga poses and phases using the silk, which is hanging in the air. You just do tricks. People use it for circus. People use it for yoga things and for restorative things.
Wow. I mean, just the sound of it, aerial yoga is just fancy as it is. So what got you into it?
I started really early on. I just wanted a type of exercise or something to do that didn't have a lot of focus in it, and I don't have to do it religiously. So I just went for something relaxing, something fun. And I started really early, just practicing it as a client and as a teacher, as a student. I'm so used to being a teacher.
Well, you are a teacher now. We'll get into that later.
And after a few years, I decided let's go into meditation and come along the aerial yoga.
So was there something about that clicked with you? Like, you know, because there's a lot going on. There's like a lot of let's say, genres of yoga, workouts. But is there something specific about aerial that actually took your attention, like, you know, being off ground?
Yeah, I used to run a lot.
Okay. And
when I the first class that I went to for aerial, the first pose that I did was inversions, which is flipping.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I was upside down, and it was a great stretch for my spine.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, that's very relaxing and very, actually like a competition to me, very competitive.
All right.
So I wanted to learn more about it, and I felt like that's the best way to do it, is to become a teacher. Learn the basics, learn everything, and that's how I got into it.
So now you've done this so many times as a student. Was there that point that you felt, you know, it's time for me to be a teacher? Because it seems like for a certain trade, you have to do it for like a certain period, I would say, right? And to feel confident enough, or maybe you have a wealth of information to become a teacher. But what was your case?
The studio that I work in, the girl that with me, the teacher that's with me, she's an instructor.
Okay.
And I used to watch her every day, and I felt like I've gained a lot of information. And she used to ask me, and a lot of my friends used to tell me, you don't want to teach it at some point? You learned all these tricks, you know all the basics, you know all the information. Why don't you take a step ahead?
Okay.
And I felt like, let's take a step ahead. And I did. And it was the best choice ever.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So is there a certificate you have to go?
Yeah, you have
fetch?
to take a certificate.
But in Bahrain, or?
Yeah, you can take it in Bahrain.
Really?
Yeah.
So where can we do that?
You can go to Namaste.
Namaste.
Like the yoga studio. Yeah, they offer a lot of certifications there, and it's there.
It's great. Actually, we had a talk with members of Namaste right here on the show, so it's just amazing to see another stretch to it happen today with you.
Yeah.
Aerial yoga. So what was the reception when you keep telling people, I do yoga, but not your yoga, I do it, you know, hang up right there.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to explain at first. So the first thing that I have to say, like, do you remember those circus people that flip? Yeah, kind of like that, but not like that. Okay. Very much easier one. People get very scared, especially like people that comes to the studio. They're like, oh no, but with time they just love it. It's such a lovable fabric.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Of course, with silk, I mean, you can never go wrong with that.
It's a very fancy thing.
Like, do you something see yourself you want to show off at home? It's like, hey, you want to see something cool?
Yeah, I used to do that to my mom all the time.
You gave her a heart attack maybe at some point. Oh, well, big shout out to your mom.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to put her on the silk, but.
Oh, wow. But that silk is pretty strong, right?
Yeah, it does. A lot of people actually, as I was saying, they get very scared. They're like, oh no, maybe, which all bodies are great, but they think they're a bit overweight, and they're like, oh, maybe I'm not as fit as you or as someone else. Is it fine? And I'm like, yeah, it carries like 400 kgs and more.
400 kgs.
Yeah, so you should feel comfortable on it.
It's that strong.
It's very strong,
It
yeah.
can withstand 400 kgs.
Yeah.
Amazing. Wow. So are there any challenging moves that you still did not achieve yet when it comes to aerial yoga, or pretty much you've mastered most of them at this point?
I think everyone still, I mean, I try not to do them, the hard things, like every single day, or try a hard thing every single day, just because I want to keep something in my mind that I will always have like a future with it. Something that I want to do in the future with aerial silk. So that's why I try not to pressure myself too much, just take it very slow. And then with time, I'm gonna do the hard stuff.
Amazing, amazing. Apparently your future is pretty bright when it comes to aerial yoga, but what about Bahrain's future when it comes to a niche, I would say, workout like aerial yoga?
I mean, it's definitely people are opening up to it more now. At first, it was not as famously known, but slowly, surprisingly, a lot of people know about it, whether they saw it on social media or they saw someone else do it or they heard about it. But people are loving it. Like when they come over, and it's amazing. It's a really bonding experience for me to watch them. Yeah.
Any specific moves you can explain to us right now? Although it would be great to see you, hanging right here with the lights and all that. I mean, maybe for our next edition. Really? But any moves you can right now verbally explain to us? How do they work, in aerial perspective? I
mean, I'll teach you like the things that you should do before to prevent injuries. Okay. Which is the most important things.
Right.
For people that practice or want to practice aerial yoga, just make sure that the silk is hanged firmly. And second of all, make sure that the silk is right on your lower back when you pull it, or the front, like your lower stomach, so that when you flip, you don't hit your head on the ground. Or when you do things, it's much safer for you. So that's a tip that I'll give people.
Do people get dizzy in the first few flips?
Yeah, that's why we don't let them do too much. We're like, come back.
I can see myself. I'll do first flip, second flip. It's been good. Oh, the door's there. I'm sorry. What about fear of heights? I mean, do people pretty much overcome it because of this? Do they have to work with it? How did you see that going on?
I mean, it depends on each person. So some people, it's fine with them, even because it's not that high, like the circus people that do it, but they're in the air.
Yeah.
But with us, it's like ceiling height kind of situation.
Okay.
So with time, people get used to it. So we don't let them, for example, from the first day, do something super high and they're panicking at the top and they're falling. So it's a step by step. So that's why we usually give multiple classes, like beginners classes, and then,
All right. If somebody says, I want to reach circus level, can that actually happen, starting with aerial yoga?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you ever thought of it one day?
I taught a kid once, and her main goal was to have the open silk, which the same thing. We use the ones that we use is like swing. Okay. But the other one is an open silk, so you can flip it and it's open in the air. So the first few classes that I gave her before she moved to Dubai was the regular swing ones. Okay. Because I just wanted her to feel safe, and then she can move on to the next step.
Amazing. How long have you been doing this for?
2 years.
2 years? Yeah. It sounds like you've been doing it for like way longer than that. I mean, amazing. Wow. I mean, I don't know if I can try that, but I would definitely like to pass by and at least see it, in real life. Because
you should. You definitely should.
So do kids pretty much see it exciting as well, or just mostly for the adults?
Oh yeah, I think it's all ages.
Really?
Yeah, it's very exciting. It's like if you're young, if you're like 6-year-old, 5-year-old, or you're like 60 or 50, it's amazing.
Amazing. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's all good. I mean, of course, there are benefits, but if you would lay down like the most noticeable ones you've seen when people would practice aerial yoga, what would that be?
I mean, just take it slow. That's what I would say. It's like I've seen them do it multiple times. Right. Like a lot of people, they would do it like once or twice, or they still don't get the hang of it. But I feel like just take it step by step. Not everyone can flip from the first class. Not everyone can do. Yeah, it just takes time, and just hear your patients and don't tell them do this on the spot, because it might terrify them. Yeah.
And what about the benefits? Like if there's like some noticeable ones, you actually seen them. Like is it confidence? Is it therapy, better breathing? What did you notice in most of your clients?
It has a lot of benefits, surprisingly. It's really good for your mobility. It's really good if you're trying to be more flexible. It's great. It's really good for your breathing. So as well as, I don't know if you notice, like a lot of people that do weightlifting, at the end of their session, they'll hang themselves just to like to have like that spinal stretch.
Interesting.
So when you flip during like the class and you do inversions and you use the silk, it really helps you relax your muscles.
Okay.
After whether you just do this whole thing as an exercise or you use it as a recovery exercise.
Amazing. Wow, this is so interesting, to be honest with you. That is really interesting. Now, Ariel is super exciting, but there's another part to you as well, meditation.
Yeah.
Tell us about that aspect of you.
I started it as well. I was practicing, but I took it really early on. I took it in 2019, so pre-COVID life.
All right.
So it was fun.
That came in handy, right?
Yeah, it came very handy.
Yeah.
It's really great because people usually they get intimidated. They're like, oh, you just sit and do the same poses over and over again. I can't connect my mind. But there is a lot of different types of meditations. So if one can't work for you, you can use the other one. You can use them. You don't have to use them for mental health. You can use them for guidance. You can use them for just to let go after a very hard work day, or if you have like future plans that you didn't think about. So it really helps.
You know, a lot of people say, hey, just meditate. Like, hey, just be yourself. To some people, it's not as easy as just giving the order or the advice of just meditate. So if you can give me the ABCs very quickly, how can anybody meditate? And what's the process? I mean, just close your eyes and breathe. But the thing is, in today's world with social media and everything going on, your brain just cannot stop thinking. And God forbid if you have ADHD. How can you actually meditate? I mean, what is the easiest thing to do and how can we start?
I mean, as easy as the steps are, or as people view it to be, it's not that easy. Because some people, they just can't focus on one thing for like an hour or something.
Hour? 5 minutes?
Yeah, some people do it for like so long. So that's why I always say set up a mood for it. Like have a quiet, low dimmed light room, have like maybe a set of paper with the things that you want to focus on, just so that when you lose your focus or something, you can look down on the paper. It's okay to move, it's okay to shift and do anything. As long as your brain is set and you're focusing on one thing, it might work for you. Some people actually perform meditation and movements.
Okay.
So they like to walk and think. They don't have to stay still. So it's a lot of different things that you can do to meditate.
Interesting. Very interesting. Thank you for that. Well, I know it can go on forever and ever, but any last words for your viewers?
Try it out.
Try it out.
Try it out. It's very fun. It's very fun. It's very scary looking, but it's amazing, and you will feel very proud of yourself.
Well, we might actually do it. You know, you never know. Well, you know, and we always thought of doing some action on the ground, but off the ground, we never thought of that. So, well, Yasmin, this has been a very, I would say, fun yet inspirational talk and very informative. Thank you so much for being with us here on Bahrain Now.
Thank you so much for having me.
Most definitely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, give it a try. Aerial yoga, all that took place with an interview with Yasmin El Janahi right here on Bahrain Now. Ladies and gentlemen, she is back again to Bahrain Now as she is applying her talent in art in the digital world. Alfia proves that there is no limit to passion from graphic design to graffiti. Let's get an update on this local talent from the artist herself. Well, good evening, Alfia. How are you?
Good evening. I'm good. How are you?
I'm so happy to see you back again here on the show. I had
really
no doubts we're
glad.
going to see you again, definitely.
I'm really glad.
So what's been going on?
I've been painting a lot more. I've been
Okay.
doing a lot of graffiti. I've been experimenting a lot, doing new things, experiencing a lot with art. Yeah.
Okay. Well, this time pretty much you've been exploring more into the graffiti world.
Yep.
So what's going on there?
So with the Art Attack crew, I'm a part of the Art Attack crew. So
Right.
this is what comes with the crew, you know, new opportunities to try different things. And I had the opportunity to try to paint a wall this time. And I just grabbed my paints and I went there and I started painting. I didn't know,
Right.
I was nervous, I didn't know how it would turn out. But I just started because I knew there would be people to help me out. And they did. And I learned a lot from it. And it just makes me really glad that there's a piece out there
Right.
that people can see anytime they want. And I can see anytime I want. I just go there, see my painting on the wall.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the crew itself, the Art Attack crew, they're just a very creative, positive crew. And they're like everlasting in the sense of just always learning, creating things,
Exactly.
and just exploring new ways and possibilities to express thoughts and positive vibes to Bahrain and the world. So
Exactly.
there is no doubt that you'll be part of that crew, that's for sure. So now you've been working on some artworks, like any pieces pretty much you want to talk about with graffiti?
I've been, for graffiti actually, I've just done one
Okay.
up until now. And I've used brushes for it, not
Right.
spray cans. Because spray cans, they have a lot of smell. So for a first timer, you need to be kind of careful with that.
Right.
So I used brushes, I got paint, it was a
Right.
lot of fun, I had a lot
Okay.
of fun, yeah, with that.
Great, great.
Yeah.
Now, do you see that pretty much the graffiti scene in Bahrain is growing? It's like
Yeah.
being more expressive. Like people actually hire them to different kind of, I would say, artworks around Bahrain. How do you see it?
Bahrain is actually moving a lot in that direction where even
Okay.
restaurants, there's a lot of graffiti, there's a lot of street art
Right.
in a lot of places that you go to. And I find it really interesting. Also, people like to take a lot of pictures in front of the street art, and
Right.
I think that's very good. It's a good way for artists to grow because some of them are actually doing this as a full-time job.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is a good way for them to, you know, grow and get out there, and it's
Amazing.
better than having your painting on a canvas because there's limited
interesting.
audience with the
Okay.
canvas. With the
Okay.
wall, anybody who's passing by is able to see your art.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You said a full-time job. So isn't that a little bit challenging for a graffiti artist?
Yes, it is very challenging, especially if you're young and you're starting out because,
Right.
you know, there's this thing in the society that you're supposed to have a career, you're supposed to go to uni, you're supposed to get a degree, which is also necessary in
Right.
life, but some people just want to pursue art full-time, like Arif with the Art Attack crew.
Right.
He does art full-time, and yes, it does get difficult, it's very challenging, you're not sure if you'll be able to, you know, put food on the table or pay your rent next month, because
Right.
maybe you don't have enough gigs to cover the costs, but it's passion. And if you just keep putting action into it, you'll get there eventually.
Now, that's very interesting for you to say that. Do you feel that the reception for the art itself can actually sustain a certain, I would say, professionality as a graffiti artist?
Yes, absolutely, but there are also a lot of risks that come with it.
Yeah.
Because many people are not familiar with the work that goes into being a graffiti artist and how hard it is to paint a wall. So they
Okay.
might like try to take advantage or exploit the artist. So in that area, it's very challenging. But if you're experienced and you have people around you who are very experienced with this, then they'll be able to help you and you'll be on the right track.
Very informative, very
Yeah.
such an eye-opener.
Yeah.
But how do you feel yourself? Where do you see yourself with all of this?
I'm still experimenting, actually. I really like doing the walls.
Okay.
I think it's a good way because I've never painted on a very large scale up until
Sure.
now. I was always doing canvas paintings. They weren't very large, but I've started to now experiment with that, and it's very soothing in a way. It's better than painting on a small scale. Large paintings are like, you go back and you see, and you're like, oh my God, I did this on a wall. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Well, I mean, pretty much when it comes to graffiti now, let's talk about your artwork taking place right here. This is beautiful.
Thank you.
The calligraphy right here. I mean, all the way. Tell us more about that for Ya Muhammad.
So this was my first calligraphy painting. I didn't use the calligraphy wooden sticks. I actually used brushes because it was my first one. I didn't want to mess it up. So I got inspiration. I actually go to Pinterest for a lot of inspiration. So this was one of the Pinterest inspiration kind of things. But the colors I chose based on, you know, when I looked at Ya Muhammad, the colors I chose were just coming from within. I just felt like those colors suited with the painting, so I just went with it. Yeah.
Wow, wow. I mean, and pretty much you took your time to actually understand the Arabic calligraphy and all the waves and all of that. Now, was this pretty much a depiction of something you had, or you followed some other artists, or something you pretty much wanted to do on your own?
See, the advantage of being a graphic designer, I can mix and match a lot of things together and make it into a piece. So this was a lot of inspiration from different artists. Like maybe half of it was taken from a different calligraphy artist, half of it from a different, and then I made it my own, joining it together on Illustrator because I'm a graphic designer, so I can do that.
You got the magic tools.
Yeah, it comes in handy, really it does, with being a graphic designer and an artist.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes you're painting a big painting and you don't know where something's going to fit, so you just copy paste on Illustrator and you know exactly where you need to paint and what you need to do. Yeah. I
mean, ever since the last time we had a talk here on the show, it seems that your passion is just pretty much a beautiful tank that is endless. You know, you're always juiced up with ideas. And now I'm assuming you're pretty much done with your studies, like you got a few months to go?
Yes, I have actually 3 months to go, after which I will graduate, and then I want to go fully into art and graphic design.
Okay.
Because graphic design, yes, it's my career, so I have to, you know. But art, yeah, because due to uni, I'm not able to fully commit to it yet, but I try to as much as I can. But once uni is over, it's all up from there.
You know what's pretty interesting and crazy is that a lot of people will be saying, like, there are a lot of artists out there. We're oversaturated. If you're not done with Bahrain, you can just go online and just look for an artist. But it seems like we can never have enough. Because, you know, when an artist like yourself can actually understand what's happening here culturally, and how can you mix, like you said, between what's happening outside and inside, internally and externally, and plus using all the magic tools, Illustrator and all that, it seems you bring a new color to this world. But what can you say to those who say, well, we have a lot of artists, and we're oversaturated?
I don't think there's anything such as artists being oversaturated. Like, everybody has a unique style, they have a different way of thinking. It's kind of like each person putting their thinking, their mind, their imagination onto paper. So each of us is different, each of us has a different way of thinking. We can never, two people can never have the same kind of imagination. It may be a coincidence somewhere, in some places, but most of the time, it's pretty much impossible, you know? So when you see like different kinds of paintings and different kinds of mediums that they're using, it's not possible to say that it's oversaturated, because in Bahrain, the artists here, you'll see some people that are more culture-based, who will paint more about the culture, which is more appreciated also by the foreigners. And you'll also see some people who paint more, you know, in a modern way. They have a more modern style. So there's no such thing as artists being oversaturated.
Amazing, amazing. That's a good answer right there. So, you know, with this amazing vibes and positivity, what can you tell us right now, to us and your viewers right now?
I'd just like to say that it is very important to experiment and experience everything and put action, because most of the time we're thinking about a lot of things, but we're not acting on it. So how I go with life is to experience, experiment, and put a lot of action into it, more than thought, because that will help you explore more, and then you'll be able to realize what it is that you actually enjoy and want to pursue more and want to improve more in, need more practice in, etc.
Okay, okay, well, that's a solid advice.
Thank you.
Well, Afia, it is definitely a great catch-up right here on Bahrain Now, and I'm sure we're going to see maybe for a third and fourth time more updates.
I hope so.
It's been a great talk with you right here on Bahrain Now.
Thank you.
Most definitely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as Afia said herself, explore, experiment, and take some action. All that took place with an interview with Afia right here on Bahrain Now. Well, everyone, I hope you all enjoyed that episode as much as I did. Don't forget to reach out to us on our social media accounts shown below. And stay tuned for more happenings right here on Bahrain Now. I'm Bara Abdullah. Till next time, Bahrain, goodbye and God bless.